What is up, colorful world and beautiful people? So the title of this case is You Already Him. And what I mean by that, bro, is let me tell you something. You might mess up a little bit. You may not feel like you're him and you may not be there yet, but whatever it is that you aspire to be, whatever it is that you're trying to overcome or trying to accomplish, when I mean what I say you already him is it already starts from within you. It starts from in here, up here, and from in here. The problem is you don't believe it yet. You don't believe it yet, and you're too busy worrying about what the world thinks and what could go wrong or what stumbling blocks are in the front. Well, the thing about it is whether it's 1,000 people that support you or whether it's one person or whether it's nobody, it starts from within you. So you have to believe it first and see it within yourself so that you can become it and be it. So let me keep it relatable for a second. Most men are chasing a vision of themselves like it's outside of themselves. They're like, I want to be this or I want to become this, but I'll never be that. And that's the first step to, that's the first step to failure, to say that you can't or you won't. Now, the thing is, you can, but depending on what it is that you're trying to do, bro, it may take some time. So that trade that you're trying to learn, this type of educational skill you're trying to acquire, or whatever it is you're trying to do, you have to go to school. You have to take a class. You have to teach yourself or look for a teacher. Do whatever it is you can do, because guess what? At the end of the day, California wasn't built in a day, and neither was Rome, and neither was Houston. You know, but anywho, you think confidence is something that you earn? It's something you have to remember going into any situation. So many of us today, we move so fast and we look at things like we look at social media, we look at TV, we look at a lot of men that are already accomplished, and then we always want to rush, to get to the finish line. And it's like this rat race that we're in every day. But the thing about it is a lot of the stuff that we're looking at takes time. Like for an example, a lot of the like famous or public figures you see that are multimillionaires or they're billionaires, it took years to attain that. And not only that, but a lot of them didn't become millionaires until they were in their 40s or 50s. And I think that a lot of us forget about that who are in like our 20s and in our 30s. And the thing is, what you have to do is write out the goal and write out an execution plan. Not an escape plan, but an execution plan. It's like having money in an account that you have locked and you think that you're broke, but you're not really broke. You just got to figure out how to crack the code, bro, so that you can get the money out. So it's the same thing with your dreams. Now, before anybody else sees it, you got to see it in private. Who you are when nobody's clapping, that's the real you. So when you're alone and you're by yourself and you have all these thoughts, what you need to be doing instead of worrying and worrying about what could go wrong, just start, just jump. And when you jump, if you fall, you hit the ground, you get up, you go back to the top and you jump again and you keep jumping and you keep jumping until you start flying. Yeah. I mean, you may be in pain at first from all of the falls, but hey, look, at least you're flying. So as you fly, you learn how to level out. It's kind of like when a bird leaves the nest, you gotta, but what I'm saying ultimately is your internal vision and your game plan is what matters. Think about basketball or think about football. Y'all know when you get ready to play, I didn't play football. I ran track, but we would always, our coach would give us a board, right? And on the board would be a outline of the track. And I remember my coach, he would always say, he'd take a marker and he'd say, look, when you start here at the beginning, run like this here, you slow down, pace yourself. When this part comes, be ready, speed up, slow down. Because I was a long distance runner. I did short and long distance. So he would have a board and he would show me, he would tell me like how to run the race to ensure that I win or I at least get second place. So I think that I look at those boards that they have. I know it's a fancy name for it, but I wasn't really athletically inclined except for the gym in track. But whatever those boards are called, I feel like that's how we should live our lives as men. We need to look at the board. We need to look at the field. We need to look at the court and figure out how we're going to play the game so that we can at least shoot for the win. And even if we don't win that particular game, we keep our head high and we keep moving. We don't act like, the little, sad kid that want to take his ball and go home because he didn't win or another man overpowered him. You get back out there, you go again and you go again because you keep telling yourself, I'm him. You keep telling yourself, I'm him, I'm this dude, I'm that dude, and I'm going to win this or I'm going to do this. But you have to believe it for yourself. And on dark days, on days where it's raining, you don't feel like your best self. You need that core strength and that mental strength, to infuse in you over and over again so that you can remember who you are, you know. It's like, for an example, if you take away followers, if you take away your validation, your relationships, would you still feel like him? Think about that for a second. So what I'm saying by that is you can't go by praise. You can't go by the applause. It feels nice and it's a high, but when you don't have any of that and you're still fighting or you're still trying to figure out which way to go, you have to have the internal validation and the internal vision, and you have to have a solid core idea of who you are as a man and as a person. I don't care if you want to do construction. I don't care if you want to play sports, you want to cut hair, you want to be a CEO one day, you want to start a business, learn a trade. Figure out who you are and write it down. Write it down on a easel or in a journal. Start journaling. Do something that whatever works for you, so that you can look at your plan and execute as the days go by. Look at your finances. Figure out how you're going to invest in yourself, what you're going to save, so that you can, have those things and you can bring your vision into fruition over time. The thing about me is, which is actually part of the reason I started this platform, is I spent a lot of years, and thank God I got out of it. But, I spent a lot of years in the dark, like doubting myself and, the way I talk, and I want to make sense, and I want people to respond like this, and I want this to happen. But guess what? At the end of the day, first off, everything you do is not going to be perfect, especially when you're just starting off. On top of all that, you can't control how other people feel about you and what they think. The best thing you can do is just strategically plan your steps and make sure that you align with what it is you're trying to do. And you're going to win some over, and then unfortunately, some you're not going to win over. And you need to be okay with it. The thing is, I stopped asking for permission to be who I already knew I was, because I had all these ideas. I had all these things I wanted to do, and I was too afraid to accomplish it because of the fear of rejection or the fear of failure or the fear of something going wrong. And having those fears, I said, that's not what a real guy does. When he has a vision, he goes in for the win. And plus, for your name to be Stafford-Tiger, for a tiger to be aggressive, you're not living up to expectations, bro. So you need to stop thinking that way. Because, see, the thing about it is, I was looking at a lot of other guys, that, feeling like they had something that I didn't, that I wanted to have. And I would say, I've never been like jealous or envious, but I was like, I felt less than because I didn't have what they have. And I was like, well, he's him, he's this person, you're that person. Who am I? And it wasn't until I went back and looked at my vision board and looked at everything that it was that I really wanted to do and said, you need to start building this. You're going to fall a few times. You're going to hit the ground. You're going to fall flat on your face. But you do that. It's not about falling. It's not about failure. It's what you do. It's about what you do after that. And then the next thing. And then the next thing. You keep saying, one day I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to do that. When? Whatever it is that you want to do, sir, whatever it is that you want to do, bro, start now. Start tonight, start this evening, start when you leave your regular job, whatever it is, because I don't know who I'm talking to, but I don't want you to miss out on what it is that you have to offer to this world. Not only what it is that you want to do for you, but how it could benefit someone else. You never know how you can inspire somebody else. So, you have to keep that in mind with what you do. So start talking to him now, you in the mirror, and not arrogant. Don't become arrogant. Don't become full of yourself, but just make sure you're aligned. Make sure that you're aligned and you know who you are, because if you don't know who you are, the world will tell you who you are, and you don't want that. You want to already go into it with a clear vision of what you want and who you are and what you're after. Okay. And always, 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 and never fail. Always be there to support others that are trying as well, because it's through village, it's through brotherhood, and it's through community that we grow. We can make it so much easier if we lift each other instead of, having this race or whatever. So we can all win. I can win. I'm gonna win, and you're gonna win. So just keep playing your cards right, okay? So that's all I had to say. And don't forget to go out into the world and don't be a moment, okay? Make sure you're a lifetime. A lifetime lasts a whole lot longer. Okay?